Ms. Hewlett, you admit that you slept with another man on the very same day you believe you conceived the son you have with Mr. Crisp.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Crisp, you claim Ms. Hewlett cheated on you at least 10 different times during your relationship.
Yes, Your Honor.
You confess that you don't believe that you fathered 2-year-old Bentley, and you admit that not believing you are Bentley's biological father has caused you tremendous pain, and it has damaged your relationship with Ms. Hewlett.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Wallace, you summoned your ex-husband and his new wife to court to prove he fathered your 2-year-old daughter, Araylin. You say he is too busy playing daddy to his new family and has neglected your daughter for far too long, and that ends today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You know she doesn't have my eyebrows. All my other
about
kids,
these
all the
eyebrows?
7 kids have my arch eyebrows.
I understand, Ryan.
Raylan eyebrows are straight.
Are we talking about eyebrows?
We talking about eyebrows. We talking about real eyebrows.
Good girl, you don't be quiet.
I do.
Be quiet.
I'm just
Feel bad for somebody now. Be quiet.
I do.
So, Ms. Wallace, your mouth has run a marathon today. I then go around with number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different men, and then I gotta write a letter. That was a long letter with these names of all these people you're cheating with. So nervous.
Times when Judge Lauren went off on bad parents. Disaster struck when Miss Bosley and her son petitioned to court for a DNA test to clear any doubts about him fathering the defendant, Miss Jackson's 3-month-old son.
Ms. Bosley, you and your son have petitioned the court for a DNA test because you are certain he did not father the defendant's 3-month-old son, Maverick, and there are 2 other possible fathers. Say your son made a young and dumb mistake by signing the birth certificate, and you need today's paternity results to get his name off of it. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You admit to cheating with another man, but claim to be certain that Mr. Bosley is Maverick's biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Everything got messy as Miss Jackson started unfolding the whole story of the relationship and admitted to cheating on Mr. Bosley.
In the beginning, we were working together, and he was starting off like, "Oh, I love you. Do you believe in love at first sight?" And then the next day we was talking, and then we had sex, and then he was talking about, you know, the kids and all of that. And then I asked for a break because we were moving too fast. I already said that we was moving too fast at the beginning.
You meet and you almost immediately start a sexual relationship
Correct, Your Honor.
and start talking about having babies?
Correct. At first, I didn't believe it because I heard it once before. So
Yeah,
when
because
hear
you
things-
know that's what men will say
Yes.
just to get you to lay
Yes,
down
Your
with
Honor.
them.
Yes, Your Honor.
They make it sound like they want to have a family,
Yes, Your Honor.
but they saying it to everybody.
Judge Lauren flipped out after it was disclosed that Miss Jackson was sleeping around with multiple co-workers at the same time.
The 2 guys she cheated on me with, those was the guys that we worked together.
Oh, so all of you all co-workers?
Yes, we all was co-workers.
Your Honor, I only cheated on him once, and that's with the person that was at work. But I did have sex with one other person that was there at the job, and that was the person that came to the house. The other person that I didn't have oral sex or
This
sex.
is a mess. This is a mess.
Yeah.
Adds up that she has slept with 3 men on her job. There should be no young woman out here sleeping with 3 men at her job. And that's why I'm like, what's going on here?
I gave oral sex to this person.
And I don't.
And-
what
and
man,
he
Your Honor?
says-
What man will believe that she only gave you oral sex?
This is exactly why y'all don't have no business young running around here using sex like it's like an extracurricular activity.
I wasn't there during the whole sex and cheating thing. I found out she was pregnant at maybe about 4 months, maybe. And I told my son immediately, that's not your baby. Like, you've been with her not even long enough.
Another potential father popped up on the scene.
Well, Your Honor, I was actually how the situation went about. I was in her phone one day, scroll down. I was on Snapchat basically. I had seen the dude, and I said he looked just like my son. I'm like, what? Like,
Your Honor, he sent me that picture, and immediately, just in all honesty, I was like, that's not your son. immediately because this made me think twice.
And Mom, once you got that picture,
Once I
you
got-
believe
Oh, yeah.
this other
For
man
sure.
is the father.
For sure.
Ms. Jackson and the man you believe is the father, it says, I need some blank. That's what Ms. Jackson said. He responds, blank, you can come this way, babe. And then Ms. Jackson responds, blank, hell yeah.
So, Your Honor, he resembles this man.
We met through a friend, and then we started talking through social media.
All right, so was Ms. Jackson interested in a sexual relationship with you?
Yes, Your Honor, she was trying to have sex.
So do you believe you are Maverick's biological father?
No, I don't. I just came here to prove that I'm not.
After having enough of the jibber-jabber, Judge Lauren also made some snarky comments about Mr. Bosley.
I asked him, did he want to sign the birth certificate?
She didn't ask me.
Yes,
that.
I did.
Why
I
did
don't
you sign
remember.
it?
Same way he was sitting
was
out
caught
there
up in
looking
my-
out the window
What you-
while she was sitting in the car with another man. And the same reason why she came back in and said she had oral sex with another guy
I
and he
signed it
still
because I
moved
felt
in.
like he was
and the
mine.
same reason why
That's
he
it.
looked at them messages and is still in here. It's the same reason why.
The paternity result determined who indeed was the father of Jackson.
Case of Bosley versus Jackson, pertaining to whether Mr. Bosley or Mr. Green is the father of 3-month-old Maverick Bosley. It has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Bosley.
Even though the plaintiff, Miss Hewlett, confessed to sleeping with 2 men on the day of the conception of her 2-year-old son, she still brought the defendant, Mr. Crisp, to court to prove that he is indeed the father of her son.
Ms. Hewlett, you admit that you slept with another man on the very same day you believe you conceived the son you have with Mr. Crisp.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Crisp, you claim Ms. Hewlett cheated on you at least 10 different times during your relationship.
Yes, Your Honor.
You confess that you don't believe that you fathered 2-year-old Bentley, and you admit that not believing you are Bentley's biological father has caused you tremendous pain, and it has damaged your relationship with Ms. Hewlett.
Yes, Your Honor.
First of all, Miss Hewlett's justification for cheating on a partner annoyed the judge.
I was first pregnant with my first son. He wasn't there. I did it myself. I was working. He was partying. I was left alone at home. He was never there.
And this forced you to cheat.
Yes, because he wasn't there. I mean, I had no one. I did it all myself. I was, you know, it was just me. No, it wasn't okay, but I mean, at least I tell the truth that I told him as soon as I cheated on him. I told him 3 hours later.
The ridiculous back and forth between the couple just added insult to injury.
I slept with somebody that I'd met where I was working at a store. They walked up to me. They sat beside me on a bench, told me that I was pretty and give me a number. And he, like, again, I mean, he'll calm down and he'll be there, and then all of a sudden he's not there anymore. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna keep this number.
Don't
and
give you no right to cheat on me, though.
And he'd go to his friends all the time, and he'd be gone 3-4 days. I had 2 kids at this time, pregnant with one on the way. And he would choose his partying, and while I'm working and I'm trying to take care of these other 2, I was left there with 2 kids. I was by myself. I mean, I'm
Mr.
gonna get
Chris.
it.
Well, I was stuck
some
in
way
the
or
motions
another.
of she's already, cheated on me with my friends and stuff. I'm
Not-
worried about, do I need to go back to her? I don't need to go back to her.
Not
I
only
got my
that,
kids-
you understand.
not
I got my
only
kids on the
that,
other
he may
side.
have a child by another woman that's not even here.
Well,
that's a
I still owe
whore.
you 10 more. I mean, you cheated on with all my friends.
Hold on,
Everybody.
hold on.
That's like
Mr.
putting-
Chris, but surely you understand that
That's fire out with
if
fire.
she goes out
That's
and
exactly what you
cheats,
do.
and then you take her back and say you want to try to work it out,
After hearing stupid excuses again and again, Judge Lauren decided to knock some sense into Miss Hewlett.
if you weren't happy in the relationship, instead of constantly cheating on him with various men so that the paternity of your child would be at issue, how about just breaking off the relationship and moving on? But my point is, Miss Hewlett, how long can you do the tit for tat excuse? Meaning, I am unhappy because he goes out and does the wrong thing. So instead of doing what's right for myself and for my emotional health and for my children by maybe stepping away from this relationship and figuring out how to get along without him, I then go around with number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different men, and then I gotta write a letter. That was a long letter with these names of all these people you're cheating with, because at the end of the day, it's not him that's suffering the most. It's your children, and it's this beautiful little boy.
She didn't stop there, and instead of buying into Mr. Crisp's pity party, she schooled him too.
Mr. Crisp, before you jump up on your pity pedestal, I got something for you too. This woman has said to you over and over again, I'm not happy, you're not here, and yet you keep repeating the same cycle over and over again. Either you're physically unavailable because you're out partying or locked up. You get no pass from me either, because what I see now is 2 adults here can't figure out how to be in a healthy relationship, have no clue what commitment means, but ultimately it's the children that are suffering. And you have 2 kids, maybe 3, and you need to figure out how to keep your butt in the house and out of jail.
The moment of truth came and taught both of them the repercussions of a toxic relationship.
In the case of Hewlett versus Crisp, when it comes to the paternity of 2-year-old Bentley Crisp, Mr. Crisp, you are his father. I can tell you are all so nervous.
Wallace vs. Wallace case started when the ex-wife summoned her former husband and his new wife to the court to prove to him that he was, in fact, the father of a 2-year-old daughter.
Ms. Wallace, you summoned your ex-husband and his new wife to court to prove he fathered your 2-year-old daughter, Araylin. You say he is too busy playing daddy to his new family and has neglected your daughter for far too long, and that ends today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes, Your
You
Honor.
say your ex-wife was so busy doing her that she lost track of who she was doing. And you say you have no problem taking care of your kids, but you have serious doubt that you fathered the plaintiff's daughter. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
The story didn't make any sense to anybody in the courtroom.
He was there when I told him I was pregnant, and if he was at home being a husband, then we wouldn't be here in DNA court, because I don't sleep around with people's husbands. I don't have time to be like...
You're saying is you have an older child and you had that child in your marriage,
Yes, and he was there,
and you were saying that he was out running around.
chasing cats in the street.
Mr. Wallace, did you abandon your family?
No, Your
Tell
Honor.
the truth.
We separated after so many years. We separated. She was doing her thing and I was doing my thing, and it was just a spur of a moment.
So why, if that's the case, why treat our daughters different? We had sex because I tell him the story about these people who's married, and I'm telling him, why would I sleep with a married man when I got my own husband? I got my own husband. I can sleep with you if that's the case. So I'm like, can I have what's mine? Can I have some? Oh, Ray, we ain't did it in a long time. I said, so? Is it mine or not? He like, yeah, let me go cut off the car. So he go cut off the car, he come back in. He took me all the way to Orion's belt. I saw the moon and the stars and the sun and Orion's belt. I knew, oh, yeah, that's mine.
The debate about the little girl's eyebrows had Judge Lauren rolling her eyes.
You know she doesn't have my eyebrows. All my other
about
kids,
these
all the
eyebrows.
7 kids have my arch eyebrows.
I understand, Ryan.
Raylan eyebrows are straight.
Are we talking about eyebrows?
We talking about eyebrows. We talking about real eyebrows.
Okay, let me look through my court
Submitted
papers.
the F-
Oh, and you even submitted a chart to the court. I see it now. How in the world did I skip over the eyebrow chart? Let's get to it. So, Mr. Wallace, you submitted this chart to the court because you say all of your children have a distinct feature.
Yes.
Tell the court about that.
See, I have the strong arch of eyebrow. Of all my other kids, my son have them, my daughter have them. Raylan doesn't have my strong arch eyebrow.
Good. That's not going to change the DNA result. You know, I don't know why I feel like not yours because of the eyebrows. I felt like she was yours because of what we did and the time frame that we did it and how you acted after I told you I was pregnant.
After the result was announced, The judge went off on Miss Wallace.
In the case of Wallace versus Wallace, when it comes to 2-year-old Araylon Wallace has been determined by this court. Mr. Wallace, you are not the father. You all right?
It's okay.
Mr. Wallace?
I feel bad for him if he really feels
Good
like
girl,
that.
don't be quiet.
I do.
Be quiet.
I'm just
Feel bad for somebody now. Be quiet.
I do.
So, Ms. Wallace, your mouth has run a marathon today. I'm serious. And I kept listening and I kept trying to understand where you were at and why would you do this? And you had a reason for everything and you were adamant. You were convinced your ex-husband was your child's biological father, but he's not.
It's no reason for me to look for anybody else.
I'm only here for Araylon. If you want to walk out this courtroom and be like, oh, if you want to hear me say this, I'm not going to look for other father, you go ahead and be that mother.
No,
You talked all day. I'm talking now. You go ahead and be that mother. And you hear me today, on this day, and don't you forget, you will suffer the consequence